Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. I wanted to start about 10 minutes ago, but I wasn't able to make it. We have McAdams Canadian blended whiskey, introduced in 1987, aged 3 years, bottled in Minnesota by Prestige Beverage Group. I bought this at Total Wine and More. It was $7.99 for the liter. $7.99 for the liter. There's your two lines holding up a maple leaf representing Canada. They're wearing crowns. There's the bottleneck showing the same thing with a crown for the Dominion of Canada, Queen Elizabeth II, etc. Aged 36 months in aged oak, meaning used oak barrels. Product of Canada. This is the newer label. It used to have a deer on it. Rich and Rare Reserve. A lot of times people have this on sale for $9.99. It usually runs about $12, but it seemed like the stores around here take turns putting it on sale for $9.99. Rich and Rare Reserve introduced around 2010. No sooner than 2010, but no later than 2011. But I couldn't pin it down the exact year. And the Sazerac website doesn't say. But Rich and Rare Reserve, Canadian blended whiskey, pretty glass bottle. Somebody told me that it's the same bottle they use for Golden Wedding. It's got the barley all over it. Imported and bottled in the USA by Sazerac Company, Frankfort, Kentucky. So it's bottled at Buffalo Trace. But you will not see it at Buffalo Trace. Anyway, Sazerac.com. They talk about it on the website, and we'll talk about it. There's a regular Rich and Rare, which was introduced in 1961, I believe, or 62. And that's about $3 cheaper. It's 3-year age, minimal type of thing. But this is more like to compete with Crown Royal. And some people claim this is a perfect substitute for Crown Royal because they'll say it's half the price, but just as nice. Now, I found that to be generally the case as well. Not maybe quite as nice as Crown Royal, but it's so close. It's so close that why pay extra money? I know I wouldn't. All right, anyway, so I've been very pleased with the Rich and Rare Reserve. McAdams. Okay, that's all I need. Hopefully I'll get the pour right. Well, I got to finish off the Rich and Rare. Got a pretty cap. You know, they're trying to copy Crown Royal cap. It's plastic, but they're trying to make it look like it's gold, you know. Fancy medieval filigree. Wow, that's it. It really isn't even enough for a challenge. Yikes. Didn't realize it was that low. It seemed like there was more in the bottle. Well, that's the end. Really the end. It's probably going to be a tie because the McAdams tastes pretty standard, and the Rich and Rare Reserve tastes standard. No, doesn't taste like they got any weird flavorings added. But the McAdams is younger, I believe, and so it might have a sharper bite. Might not be as smooth. It smells like grains. Like cereal grains, like literally, that's what it smells like, cereal grains. Cereal grains presented in a fermented and then distilled whiskey form, aged in oak barrels. Yeah, not much difference there on the nose. What I just described, there you go again. I think I hear something climbing on the fence outside, and I believe I know what is climbing out there. It's a sweet corn taste, a little rye spice, and then bread from like the barley whiskey. That's it. These are always Not always, but these are quite often very common one to another. They always, it's like, it almost always the same experience. Start off with sweet corn, like candy corn, then rye spice, and closing out with bread. And then you get a across the sip woodiness. So you could say, well, what's the point of reviewing these Canadian whiskeys? They're all the same, more or less. They're similar, for sure, but they're not identical. So that's where it's worth it. All right. Same thing, but a little harsher bite. And that's the McAdams. Well, after all, I can pay $9.99 and get a 750 milliliter bottle of Rich and Rare Reserve. And sometimes they'll even have like big specials, $11.99 for the handle. I'm not, or $12.99. I'm not kidding. Big, it's plastic, you know, but a big bottle. So, but here we're paying $7.99 for a liter of McAdams and $9.99. That's what I paid. I remember buying it. $9.99 for the Rich and Rare. So you're paying more, you're getting less. It's a higher quality product. There's no real difference in the flavor. It's just a little more of a bite on the McAdams, probably because it needs to mellow more in the barrel, but they're only aging it 3 years. So it's all minimal. That's the minimum. All Canadian whiskey must be aged at least 3 years. They can add grain spirits. They do add grain spirits, raw, unaged. But that has to go in a barrel for 3 years. In the United States, that's the difference. You can take raw grain alcohol, grain neutral spirits, and just bottle it. I mean, of course, you got to blend it with the straight bourbon, but you don't have to age it. You just take the aged bourbon, which has to be aged at least 2 years, straight whiskey, could just be straight corn whiskey, aged at least 2 years, blend it with the grain spirits, and sell it. Whereas in Ireland, Scotland, and Canada, it has to be aged 3 years. All right, enough of that. Does that make a difference? It does. It does make a difference. Not a great difference. What you doing out there? I'm coming out in a minute. Okay. Just wait. Sorry about that. Being called for by a cat. Goblin says, what is the Canadian version of bourbon since they can't call it that? That's a good question. They could call it I don't know what they would call it. Now, Crown Royal has the bourbon mash or blender's mash. They can't call it bourbon, but if you taste it, well, they're telling you on the website it's aged in charred oak. They're using mostly corn. So in the United States, it would be bourbon. But in Canada, they got to call it Canadian whiskey. It's blended because they're blending it with other grains. Bourbon is blended. I mean, straight bourbon is blended because it's at least 51% corn. Doesn't have to be. Could be 100% corn. But usually it's like at some percentage of corn, and then they'll add rye, barley. Could add wheat like with Weller. So they're all blended. You can even add grain spirits, and that's called blended bourbon. They sell that at Walmart and Matherns, blended bourbon. But it's got to be at least 51% corn. Anyway, Mackerel says, Ronald, feeling down, kind of hurricane hungover. My wish is to be on this stout Sunday. Yeah? You drank too many hurricanes, huh? Well, got to know when to say when to cool it. All right, so I prefer the Rich and Rare here. It's a little nicer product. And this seems to fit the price. $9.99 versus $7.99 for the much bigger bottle, 25% bigger bottle, and it evens out. Yeah. I really think the Rich and Rare Reserve can beat Crown Royal. Not because it has a better flavor, per se, necessarily. It might, but by virtue of the price point. Yep, that's it. I got it. I knew I would get it. Let's see what they're saying about McAdams on their website. McAdams. Smooth, enjoy on rocks, or mixed in cocktail. Smooth whiskey notes. Mixes well with cola. Aged 3 years in ex-bourbon barrels. That's all they're telling you. Now, what bourbon does this company make? Well, let's see. Portfolio. Okay, come on, come on. Let me go to spirits. Bison Ridge, that's Canadian whiskey. Scotch. Yoya, Kinky, Kingston, Kharkov, Mothers. Well, you know what? I don't think they. Single malt Scotch. Tullibardine single malt Scotch Highland. Windsor Canadian, they're the most popular Canadian whiskey they sell. The Whistler, Irish whiskey, Tyler and Lloyd. Okay, never mind. We know Sazerac makes so many blended whiskeys. I mean, so many bourbon whiskeys. Okay, Ron Diaz. Ronnie D is a fan favorite as consumers love the quality and value of Ron Diaz. We have more fun. So Ron Diaz is obviously a inexpensive rum. Spiced original, spiced black cherry, spiced 93, spiced apple, cocoa. Then they have a gold rum and a white rum. Ron Diaz Gold, fine Caribbean rum character, perfect for mixing with cola, 40%. I mean, I try it. It's probably inexpensive, but I've never seen it. Now, Rich and Rare Reserve from Sazerac, an impeccable blended whiskey. I love how impeccable. Okay, that means it's like, it's perfect. There's no pecks. It's impeccable. Blended by renowned master blender Drew Mayville of the Sazerac Company, Sazerac, Canada. Its unique marriage of smooth and spicy flavors make for a great whiskey on ice or in mixed drinks. Uh-oh. Same thing they're saying on McAdams. On ice or mixed drink. They're not talking about sipping it neat. Smooth yet spicy whiskey, perfect for any occasion. Yes, it is smooth. I remarked on that earlier. Spicy, moderately so, mildly so, really mildly so. Tasting notes. The nose. Peppery spice with toffee and caramel to balance the sweetness palate. Sugarcane and candied fruit with peppercorn finish. Soft and lingering with baking spices and a touch of smoke. I didn't taste any of that stuff. Smoke and all of that. What are y'all talking about? I tasted what I told y'all. Candy corn, rye spice, and bread dough. Corn, rye, and barley. What? Anyway. Then they're talking about all their awards. San Francisco World Spirits Competition got a very good score, 89, a B+. Didn't get an A, got a B+, but you're not paying an A price. Got to do some research on the 1792 because my friend David loves it. And I said, man, what if you find some of those other versions of it? He said, oh, I'd be excited. So I'm going to check that out for him in a little bit. Get on that website. All right. Well, so the winner is Rich and Rare, but not by much. Now, there's one last taste challenge to do for Friday, but I'll probably do it today because Friday's going to be tough with Fandango Friday. So what's the taste challenge Friday? McAdams, of course, because I got to finish the bottle. McAdams versus Gibson's Finest Rare. I don't like it. I'm telling you up front, I do not like Gibson's. I know it's $65 for the big bottle, big glass bottle. When I tell you the price I paid, you're going to not believe it. But I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to do it blind. I'm going to give it a fair shake, and I'm not going to play favorites. So that'll close it out. Then we've got whiskey coming up from Ireland, Irish whiskey, Teeling, introduced in 2012, produced at their own brewery in 2015. Teeling, small batch, no age statement. Finished in rum barrels. That's what makes it unique. It's an Irish whiskey finished in rum barrels. It's a little different. I did a solo review. I liked it a lot, actually, a whole lot. You'll see that. But now, how's Teeling's going to do against Paddy's, Duhan's, Bushmills, Original, Black Bush, and Red Bush? Well, we'll find out, won't we? I'll join this Sunday on StreamYard. Do you mind? Well, I don't mind, as long as you use your real name and your face. You know what I'm saying? Not, an internet name. Where can I find Lone Star beer in California, or is it only the East Coast? So you'll have to reveal. Here's who I am. It might be somebody we know. Macro, you could be somebody we know. Where can I find? So just contact me on email. Where can I find Lone Star beer in California, or is it only on the East Coast? It's not on the. I don't know where. Pabst distribution is a mystery to even Pabst probably. Lone Star, I've never seen it in Louisiana ever. So I don't know what to tell you. What are your thoughts, says Liam, on Libby's Vienna sausages? They're okay. They're just as good as Armour. They ought to be. They're made at the same location. At the Fort Madison, Iowa processing plant. It's probably the same sausage with different labels on it. If you look at a lot of the Vienna sausages, they'll have the same production establishment code, P, whatever that number is, 32, 37, whatever. They'll have the same number, though. They'll all have the same number. And I looked it up on the USDA website, and it was Armour Meats of Fort Madison, Iowa. So there you go. What type of rum do you think the historical pirates drink, says Goblin? I really don't know. Probably cheap, harsh, and abrasive, but I can't say. My friend found an unopened 6-pack of Lone Star data from 1981. Do you think it's okay to drink? No. Dump it out. But you could save the cans for your collection. That's cool. Lone Star. Been on the market for a long time. Since what, 1940? Last Texas beer I saw around here, real Texas beer, was Pearl. In 1997, a 6-pack of bottles, Pearl, at a local store about 4 miles northwest of here. I'm sorry, west, northwest. It was $3.99 a 6-pack. I didn't think much of it. I said, I'll get Pearl again. I really liked it. Went back, never saw it again. We do get Ziegenbach. That's made in Houston, Texas. Ziegenbach by Anheuser-Busch. Don't get it in my town, but I can get it in Metairie. It's not a big seller. Well, we get craft beers from Texas, of course. Karbach doesn't do well, doesn't sell. St. Arnold does very well. Yes, Shiner does well. So Shiner and St. Arnold are big sellers here. Karbach, I don't know, whatever reason, people wouldn't buy it. They probably didn't know what it was. What's Karbach? It's probably terrible. You know how people think. I never heard of Karbach. It's probably terrible when it's almost always good. But I can't be the only one keeping a brand alive in Louisiana. If I buy it or my friend David buys it, that's good. But if nobody else buys it, they're not going to stock it. Mathern's has a couple of brands of Karbach. Don't see people buying it. The dates might not even be any good on it. But Shiner, that'll always sell out. Founders always sell out, St. Arnold always move, except for that St. Arnold Pumpkinator. Man, when people saw $7.49 a bottle, they probably did like me and stuck it right back on the shelf so you could stay right there. Just tuning in now, I have a question. How rare is Rich and Rare? It's so rare you can get it at Walmart. There's your answer. Everybody sells it around here. All right, hold on a second. I'm coming. Come on. I have to change my clothes. Come on. All right, so that's it. We're closing it out. I should be back later today for the final call, which would be McAdams versus Gibson. So then we're going to move to Ireland, to the Irish Republic and Northern Ireland, because remember, Ireland is one of those countries that's divided into two pieces, like Korea, Cyprus, Morocco, because you got Morocco and then you got Spanish-controlled Morocco, Ceuta and Melilla. That's your point of contention with those two countries and all of that. So anyhow, then we'll be going to Scotland with a very exciting Scotch whiskey, I have to say. And then after that, we got blended Scotch whiskey. In my opinion, an exciting Scotch whiskey, blended. My friend David said, "Oh, that stuff's terrible." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. It's not terrible at all. It's very bready and delicious." But anyway, you know, we don't always agree. Have you ever accidentally bumped into a shelf and broke bottles from your collection? No, but I've dropped them out of my hand. Like this bottle cap got broken here when it just slipped out my hand up. And I couldn't believe the cap broke on carpet. Like, how could carpet, you know, soft, break a plastic cap? But it's the way it hit it, you know. Why is Colt 45 hard to find in the glass 40s on the West Coast? I'm tired of steel and Old English due mostly to the plastic. I really don't know. Colt 45, you can get the glass bottles here in Louisiana. If you can find Colt 45, it's not a big seller here, but some stores stock it, and you'll see the 40s, but doesn't do too well. Well, I mean, they don't make it available. How's it going to do well? Anyway, you know, back to Pabst with their peculiar ways. Thanks for watching this video production.